Got you. If I can have everyone's attention, we welcome into the media center the race winner of today's 17th annual Zippo 200 at the Glen, Kurt Busch, driver of the number 22 Ruby Tuesday Discount Tire Dodge, as well as crew chief Todd Gordon. This is Kurt's first victory of 2011 in the Nationwide Series, his second victory in 3 races here at Watkins Glen. This is his first nationwide start since a start at Watkins Glen in 2007. Kurt, just take us through the race and how it felt to be in that nationwide car again.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun to come out here and fill in for Keselowski and have Tom Gordon here running the show, and to have a championship caliper car available and to jump into it. You know, it's an opportunity, and I'm glad that today turned out the way it did to reach its full potential, and that's to sit on the pole and lead some laps and then be in position to win and to bring the victory on home. You know, Penske Racing puts a lot of effort into their Cup cars, and now I know why they continue this nationwide program, because it provides a great stage for guys like Todd Gordon, and those crew guys to develop and to work their way up to the Cup Series. And I'm just really proud of the team and the effort we put forth today to be able to bring it home to victory lane and to run up front with my little brother and Carl Edwards. You know, those two guys are the most winningest guys in Nationwide, along with Mark Martin. And to race with those guys, I can see why they are tough to beat. And for us to come out on top, you know, in our one shot at it, we needed to take all the advantage that we could of it, and I did. And so it was a great day.
Todd, take us through your strategy and how it felt for you to be paired up with Kurt in today's race.
You know, it was Wednesday morning I finally got the call that Kurt was going to be in the car, because Brad was really holding on to see how he'd feel. But obviously it's a pleasure to get somebody of this caliber who the history spoke for him. You know, it's the 05-06, 2 poles, 1 win, 1 third. Kind of puts the pressure back on you. Race car I thought was decent. We had deep. I felt like we were better in the last half of the run than the first. So you know, the race played out kind of the way we looked at it. Pit at 24. See where that went from there, and from it could go 24, 54, and finish. Caution there in the middle put us to 55, and that gave us a lap on the rest of them. I can't say I wasn't a little stressed there with fuel mileage, but just making sure that, you know, with the contours here and the downhills, making sure the fuel cell picks everything up. Knew we had enough to make it, but just want to make sure we picked all of it up.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Kurt and Todd. Please raise your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we'll start up here with Reed.
Reed Spencer with Sporting News. Kurt, you've had 12 nationwide starts. You've won 3 times. Does this make you tempted to race on Saturday more often?
You know what it did to me after being gone for 4 years. It shows the level of commitment that the guys that run both series have to give, with time away from the Cup car, the focus of balancing 2 setups, and of course running all the laps. I mean, yesterday I was in the car from noon to 6 o'clock. You know, it makes for a longer day, and it really eats up your time as far as just where I felt like I was exactly where my Cup car and my crew chief on my Cup side needed to be. I was just off a little bit. So tonight will be an opportunity to go back over those notes and be as focused as we can be for Sunday. But, you know, for Kyle and Keselowski, for Edwards, you know, Logano most of the time, those guys, they put in a lot of effort to make their Saturday programs work, and hats off to those guys.
Okay, we'll take our next question up front right here.
Kurt, the speculation, it's Dave Sully, Area Auto Racing News. The speculation was that at the end of the race you were trying to run Kyle hard to run him out of fuel. Was that indeed your plan, and were you worried about running out yourself?
We were running hard together. It wasn't to force him to run out of fuel. I wanted to race him as fair and square as you can, but they had a problem in the pits, and we knew that they were short. I had the confidence in Todd Gordon here that we had no problem on fuel, so of course we were going to continue to apply pressure. And it wasn't that we were just hanging out and waiting. It seemed like I could catch him in traffic, and then I could get to his back bumper, but I couldn't do anything. But that was still with 10 to go. With 5 to go, I was going to really pour it on, but those guys, they didn't have enough fuel.
Okay, next question over here.
Bob Ben, scoring leader. Yourself and your brother led every lap. Just talk about how fun it is to go neck and neck with your brother, and then talk about just going into that green checkered finish or green white finish with Jimmy behind you. Did last week enter in your mind at all?
It was great to battle Kyle all day. Edwards was hanging in there with us, and it was one of those feelings of like we're going to see this race on ESPN Classic right afterwards. If we could have got to duel it out at the end, similar to the way that I battled Robbie Gordon here back in 2006. Just didn't work out for him. We were able to bring it on home for our Dodge team and everybody. And in the final restart, I knew we had everybody back there. We had Edwards, we had Kyle, we had Johnson. And it was just a matter of trying to get away from all the chaos, and we were able to stretch it out.
Any additional questions for Kurt or Todd? Okay, right over here.
Yes, Joe Mink from the Star Gazette. You had mentioned about the 2006 race. Were you kind of happy that this ending was a little more serene than that one was, that things were a little more...
I was prepared for anything. I know Todd here wanted it to finish before that final caution. With fuel mileage and then with the competition having a shot at you. But, you got to be ready for anything. You're here to win, and you got to get in there at the end of these races and do whatever it takes to, bring the car on home, whether it's rubbing fenders, whether it's bending the noses in, elbows up and hammer down racing. And I was happy to stretch out the lead and show our strength there after the final restart.
Okay, we have a final question over here.
Sean Varga with the Leader. Talk about the communication, and did you have to make a lot of changes to the car from the time you took it off the truck, or make any major changes today during the race?
Yeah, I'll have Todd jump in on this. I felt like we were on the same page all weekend. I just didn't know how aggressive I needed to be with changes, so I left it more in Todd's hands. And at one point, I actually hit my radio switch, so I was off of the radio for about 3 laps. Because I bumped it coming into the pit stop. So luckily, everything still worked out. We made the right changes, and with the fuel, we had to wait on fuel a little bit just because it's a little slower nationwide. But jump on in.
Yeah, I think we unloaded fairly decent, and Kurt kind of helped us out with leading. It's a different thing. Kurt and Brad both have the same deal. The other road course we've run this year had Jacques Villeneuve, so it was cool to have a driver that's in there and says, I think we need to do this, and there's a positive to it. And then we talked a little more about it and what we could do to the race car, and I think threw some ideas by him, and I thought this weekend went pretty fluently, but 4 runs in practice, I think we picked up every run, and race-wise, we made one adjustment on the race car, but outside of that, I think sun out or clouds out was a difference in how we handled. I think we were better when the clouds came out. When the sun came out in the middle of the race, we got a little loose. So I can't speak enough for what Kurt's done to help our program get to this place.
Okay, we have a question here from Kenny Bruce.
Kenny Bruce with Singing Daily. For Todd, you talked about working with different drivers. What kind of challenges has that presented for you as you've worked with the different ones this year?
Probably the biggest challenge I had with the driver allotment that we've had this year was getting to work with Jacques Villeneuve, because he's not part of our Penske group. There's a lot of communication. I'd say that's one of the things we do very well is the crew chiefs and engineers within Penske. No matter what series we're in, we're all kind of together. So we're together, we're fluent, we know what's going on. We have race notes from each other. We look through them every weekend to see where they're at. That's part of, I had looked at what Steve's setup was for Kurt's Cup car. We were pretty close. I kind of had a direction in rear springs because there's something different there. But from Sam Hornish Jr. to Parker Klingerman to Kurt, they're there. They're in the shop. I've seen him. I've talked to him. My road engineer at the beginning of the year is now one of his road engineers on the Cup program. So I went to him, Jonathan Hassler, and what's he like, what's he want, and got some ideas to start with. But felt like it's been very fluent, and it speaks for the quality of people we've got here.
Okay, next question in the back from Steve.
Steve Richards with PRN. Kurt, you're starting 27th tomorrow. Do you feel you've got the balance of the car right, and the car is good enough to move up into the top 5, and you've learned today where to pass and where to make your car better?
Yeah, the Cup car had been struggling on lap 1 and 2 as far as trying to lay down a really good lap. And today it just missed getting into the inner loop for qualifying, and you miss a little bit in Cup, you're going pretty far back. So it's not going to change our strategy. We're just going to have to come from behind and protect the race car early on. But I hope that once we get like 5, 6, 7, 8 laps in, that's when the car's going to start to show its strength. So we've got our work cut out. Today I knew we could run up front and start from the pole, and tomorrow it's just a mentality of coming from behind, and that's all there is to it.
All right, final questions? Okay, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.